Hello and welcome back to Munchiezzz. I'm your host for this segment of the episode, Dylan Santore. Now, I know what you're thinking, Dylan, aren't you a Mediterranean sex symbol? What are you doing cooking in a dorm kitchen? Well, I was in college once just like you, young man, and I learned how to get by and have fun doing it while eating stuff that was very inexpensive but very good. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a mac and cheese lunch that you can make in a standard coffee mug. I'm not going to be using a coffee mug, I'm going to make a larger sample for our judges, but if you wanted to, you could easily make it inside of a mug, and I'll tell you the appropriate proportions for that. So, what you'll need about, if you're making this in a mug, you're going to need about half a cup of water, half a cup of milk, half a cup of elbow noodles, and half a cup of cheese. Essentially half a cup of anything, and if you're making more than that, just take those proportions and multiply them. So I'm going to begin by grabbing my bowl here and dumping the water in, like so. Make sure you don't splash yourself, you know, it's easy if you're a cooking novice like me, or how I used to be. And then we're going to measure out our macaroni and cheese. Right, we're going to do that by just pouring it into our measuring cup here. That's good enough. You gotta give it the old college try, you know. So we're gonna put this into the, actually I'm using actually making 3 servings, so I need to put in more. So if you're making this in a mug, you're gonna be using half a cup. I'm gonna be using 1.5 cups because I'm making 3 servings of it. So I'm just gonna keep pouring that in there. And that's about 3 servings right there. And then we're just gonna pour it into our bowl. Now, if you just have a spoon or any stirring utensil nearby, that'll do the job. And we're just gonna go ahead and just stir the macaroni and cheese around, get it all nice and moist in there. And then we're going to put it into the microwave for around 1.5 minutes. If you're making just half a cup, it might just be 1 minute, but we're gonna put it in for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll see from there. But before I do that, there's still some residue left of the mac and cheese, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get that in there. Gotta really, you know, some of us can't afford whisks, you know, in college, you gotta go at it like that. So we got that in there, we stirred it around, and we're gonna put it in for about 1.5 minutes. This is a very cheap dorm room microwave. It does not work very well. Because of that, we have to slam it shut, that way the microwave knows. Now, if you have a better microwave, well, good for you, Johnny Millionaire. Some of us don't, so what can we do? So we're gonna put it in for about 1.5 minutes. That's 13 seconds. I did that on accident. But after we're done, we're gonna stir it around some more, and we're gonna put it in for about 1 minute or so more. So, if you guys are familiar with this process before, you may or may not be. I know Kraft makes a lot of their stuff like this, where you would stir the macaroni in with water, then you'll heat it up, and then you'll add the cheese after. We're essentially doing that, except we're doing it a little bit more bougier. We're gonna be using our own ingredients instead of Kraft stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in for about, let's say 80 seconds. When I said dorm room microwave does not work, I meant the dorm room microwave does not work. And because of that, we're gonna have to have a lot of false starts to this process. So, now that we have all of our ingredients in there, we're gonna go ahead and clean out our mug a little bit, because we're gonna use some, not our mug, but our measuring cup, because we're gonna use some water, some more milk, and we're gonna add milk to it, when we add the cheese, of course. And because of that, I want to get this nice and clean, that way there's no like extra noodles in here that you see they kind of stuck to the bottom there. And yeah, we're just gonna wait for this to finish. Always good to clean up your area as well. And I'm gonna get ready for our next few ingredients. So we're gonna add, if you're making this in a mug, you're gonna add about half a cup of mac and cheese. If you're making it 3 servings like me, I'm gonna use about 1.5 cups like I did with all the other ingredients. So we're gonna do that first, that way it doesn't get sticky with the milk and the cheese sticks to that, because that's gross, nobody wants that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some cheese out here and fill in this cup, because I don't want to pour it all over the place. See how messy using cheese can be? So we're going to go ahead and fill this up as our stuff is getting done, which is almost done now. It's always important to maximize your efficiency when you're in college, you know. Putting that essay off to the last minute, you kind of learn how to do things all at once. That's that. We could use a little bit more. There we go. Now we have our cheese. I made a bit of a mess here. I apologize for that. I'm gonna set that over there because we're done with that for now. So now we have our noodles, nice and cooked. Now, you can see here, there's some residue coming off. That's just because of the noodles. That's not like poison or anything. So we're gonna go ahead and just stir this up a little bit, and then we're gonna add in our cheese and our milk. Listen to that sound. That's some good mac right there. Oh God. Brings me back to those dorm room days, doesn't it, boys? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add ourselves some cheese. We're gonna stir that around as well. To get this nice cheesy concoction there. Get a nice close-up on that right there. Look at that. That's just how Mama used to make. And then we're going to add ourselves about some leftover cheese there. We're gonna add ourselves about 1.5 cups of milk. If you're doing this in a mug, like I said, you're gonna be using just half a cup. So just be careful to pour it in there. And boom, we're almost done. Pour that nice and gently into the mixture. Mix it around some more. Now you can use less or more milk depending on how you like your mac and cheese. I like mine to look a little brothy, so to speak, so I might be using a little bit too much milk, but we'll let the judges decide that now, shall we? Okay, so now that this is all freshly stirred, we're gonna put it in for about 2 minutes and take it out. So now that we have put ourselves in for about 2 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and clean up our area here, just so we can, just so it's easier for the next guy, so to speak. Now notice how inexpensive these ingredients are. I think this whole meal with like extra stuff, keep in mind we're not using all of these ingredients, we're only using some of them. So it only cost me $10, so you can, this is like a several day meal right here. If you wanna just like make a bunch of this and freeze it, I mean, you're a savage, but it's easy, you know? Okay, well this did not turn out the way I intended it to do, but we might have to put it in for a little bit more is what I mean. Yeah, I may have used a little too much milk. That said, we can always drain that out. So let's go ahead and pour some of this milk out and see what we have. Lost some noodles there. But as you see, we kind of got everything kind of freshly coated with cheese. Now, this looks a little messier than your typical mac and cheese because you see a lot of the cheese is stringy, but because of that, we'll get this kind of nice, kind of chewy flavor. So I'm gonna pour out some more of this milk and we're gonna portion out and see how the judges respond. Just look at that, that's just beautiful right there. Now we have our mac and cheese. So I'm gonna proportion 3 portions of it, roughly speaking. Get enough cheese in each one of them. Look at that goo there. That's why you love cheddar. Well, I use cheddar cheese, by the way, but you can use whatever you want. If you like pepper jack, you can use pepper jack. But I use cheddar because it melts really nicely. You get this nice, like, sort of texture. It's very good, very good. So we got that there. I'm gonna portion these bowls out like so, and I'll bring it over to the judges.
So tell us what we have here.
Okay, what you have right here is some dorm room mac and cheese. What separates dorm room mac and cheese from regular mac and cheese? Well, it's cooked improperly and underdone, but it's quick and it's cheap and it's not ramen. It's like ramen, but it's slightly different. So if you try AJ's stuff and you try my stuff, you get a ton of noodles for half the price. It's a great deal.
I have a couple concerns. It has good flavor. Slightly crunchy. A little crunchy. It's alright. Gives it some texture. It's good. It's good. I appreciate the effort.
So it's not just a meal, it's also like a crunchy meal. It's savory as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the effort that was put into it.
Yeah. I appreciate the effort, you know. It's a good idea, but it's the right idea. You know?
Man, you guys are just having so much fun eating this. The laughter just never stops.
It's good. So, the judges and I may have to.
What I could say is that it is cheesy. Everybody likes some cheesy
Yeah,
mac and
it's definitely
cheese.
cheesy.
But that macaroni is not macaroni. It's more like harderoni.
So,
still good, though.
so if you're listening at home, folks, you might want to put this in for a little longer than I did.
A little more than a minute and some change.
It definitely needs some seasoning. I'm not gonna lie.
You could take
But-
that slap your mama seasoning.
Yeah, shop my mama would be good. Really, any seasoning would be good too.
But I appreciate the effort, so we will have to talk about our decision.
Just need some Jesus.
Okay, I don't know what to do next.
Technical error. It is cheesy though, bro. That's one thing.